people. Hello. This is Kurisu. Today we're going to talk a little bit about, the playoff season and what the teams are looking like. Let's start in one moment. Okay. Alright, so as you can see here, we have our four teams. We have, I'm not going to pronounce all the names because I don't want to butcher other people's teams' names, and that's kind of just jacked up because, yeah. So yeah, let's start with the first two teams. Actually, let's start with where a lot of these teams came from. So, we actually have them split up into their divisions. So Last Tape and my team and Sadfish and, the Figure 4, they're all Division 1 teams. Division 1 actually came out to be very contested. I made it to first, thankfully, because Sadfish actually took out the Figure 4, and that pushed me ahead. A couple other people who were in contention, lost their games and whatnot, and I was kind of looking for it. It was pretty close. There was a lot of different things, a lot of scenarios that could have taken place, and the four from Division 1 could have been completely different. But this is what we have. So we have a Norse team, Undead team, Lizard, and Orc. Playoffs actually ended up being sort of balanced in terms of the way the teams are, though it is a little bit more bash heavy. You'll see as we go down through the teams that even the bash teams don't really they're not so all in. They have a couple tricks in the way they grew the team, and it turned out pretty well. So yeah, you have Sadfish and then Figure 4. And then, Division 2, we had Knug, who was just dominating his league. I think he ended at 7-1-0. And so we have a human team, an elves team, a chaos team, and an underworld team. This is going to be an interesting one because no one in Division 1 has ever played against Underworld, and so I'm even myself, truthfully, I don't know how to take his team, but the fact that Vaccine is the one that's probably in it makes it dangerous, because Vaccine is a very good Blood Bowl player. He's won most of our leagues. Originally he had a ridiculously powerful vampire team who had werewolves that you just did not want to get in front of or get near. You were scared of those werewolves. They were just the bane of your existence. So there's a lot of interesting stuff going off in just the quarterfinals already. Because for my game, anyways, Last Tape is one of the only people who actually beat me. And I will say that Last Tape plays his team very well. I'm actually kind of worried about my first game, just because of that. Sebutai and Knug actually just played each other. They were the last game for each other in the regular season, and so was Sadfish and the Figure 4. And then you have the brother matchup. So yeah, we're gonna go down the teams. We're gonna talk about what each team kind of looks like, and I don't want to go too much into strengths and weaknesses, but there's a lot of things that can easily be pointed out. A lot of this is just kind of to get people an idea of what our league looks like and what our playoffs are matching up to be. So yeah, so we'll start with Last Tape's team first. So as you can see, like I said, he's Norse team. He has 4 rerolls, which I'm actually kind of surprised a lot of people don't have a lot of rerolls. Most of the teams, I think, are at the standard 2-3. But I think a lot of people had to replace some members in the last 2 games looking at some of the roster. Because some of the teams look like they're missing 1 or 2 people that they had previously. So one thing to point out his Yeti's gone. Like, it's gonna miss the next match, which is pretty good for me. I don't really need that kind of thing in the game for me. Though I think he was the person I played where it was kind of down all the time. No, actually it was different. That was our other Norse player. But the fact that I don't have to worry about a 5 strength is pretty good for me. I feel really good about that situation. So, I mean, he has a lot of level 1 still, you know, runners, a Norse werewolf, which I'm thankful is level 1 still. This guy, the one with block, actually no, it wasn't this guy that did the work, but I mean his team's pretty good. As you can see, he has a good variety of skills, mostly going for block, but he has a kicker, which is very important in playoffs, and he has tackle, mighty blow, sure hands. I mean, he has a really good stable lineup, and then he has tackle and pro. It's really good, I think, for Norse to have these kind of skills, like just a nice mixture of little things that add up to their power. So, especially with the tackle, because going in playoffs, you don't want to be caught off guard by certain skills. And I think dodge is one that gets overlooked a lot, unless you're in an elf-heavy league. For myself, I concentrate a lot on my ghouls. So someone having dodge really changes the way that I have to play my team. Because before, like usually I play with the momentum, and I sometimes will just have my ghouls just run off. I'm very mindful of who has tackle and who doesn't. So I might have to do a little bit more caging and misdirection when I play him. So this guy is the bane of my existence. When I played last tape, this is the guy that wrecked me hard. Mighty blow, pile on, dodge. I think when I played him, he didn't have the dodge. But block, frenzy, like all this is total kit. I mean, if I can, this is the guy I want to knock down, and I want him to stay down, which we'll go into that a little bit as we go into my teams. Last tape is really good at setting up frenzy and making it just ridiculous. Like, having him as my first match scares me and also makes me happy, because if I could get past him, I feel a lot better about where my team is now. Whereas when I played him, I think 4 or 5 weeks ago, so it would make me feel as though I have a real development in my team. But yeah, I'm really worried about this guy. Well, not just because of level 4, but just because he's a momentum builder for this team. And with 4 rerolls, it's going to be even more dangerous. I mean, he only has 100,000 gold, so I don't have to worry about too much with inducements. And for the most part, a lot of people in the playoffs have around mid 1400s team value. There's a couple who are higher, but it's nothing too bad that I think you're going to be worrying about much about inducements outside of people putting their personal money in, which is another problem we're going to run into, and we'll get to the one team that can really upset that value. So I mean, this team is pretty solid. If he beats me, he has a really good chance, depending on who he goes up against. But really solid foundation for his team. And then we're going to go into my team, which is Undead. So, you know, I have 5 rerolls. I haven't really gone into cheerleaders or assistant coaches. I'm trying to just kind of pile up my money. And the reason for that is I have a lot of value on my team. I still have a lot of level 1s, but they're all skeletons, so it's not really a bad thing. Skeletons are pretty disposable. And like if I want to, I can kind of kick Rami to get lower TV, but I don't really feel as though that's necessary. Having as many people as I do, it's, you know, I want to make sure I'm not afraid to, you know, get knocked off, which with skeletons isn't, with the kind of team that Undead is, can happen. So going down, I have my whites. One is tackle, the other one's guard. This guy originally had guard, and then he died, and then I bought a new one. And then later season I got tackle, and it worked out well. Tackle is something you really need to have again. And the other one has guard. I'm a very guard-focused team, as you can see. I have, I think, 3 or 4 guards. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5 guards. No, wait. Yeah, 5. So again, I have a mummy with guard. I don't want that. Stop it. The resort. And then a skeleton with guard. A skeleton with sneaky get. The mentality behind this is that if I get a guy, if I have a guy who is causing me, or if there's a guy on the team that's causing me trouble, which again is like the pilot on dude, I want to make sure he stays down. And this is what the sneaky get's for. Like, I don't want to give you a reason to use some of your more powerful abilities. And this is just how I try to keep that from happening. Sneaky gets really good, just kind of keeping him around. And with guard, he's not really losing much. There's like so much guard on the team that he's still a really solid regular player. And then Sneaky Get just helps with the aftermath. Considering he's gonna hit level 3 soonish, I'm not really sure where else I'm gonna go with him, but it's pretty good for a skeleton. And then for my mummy, I have stand firm and guard. Our goal is block guard, and almost tackle block. Again, I'm stacking guard because with as many skeletons as I have, I want to make sure that they are matching up to what the other teams have. It's not as though Division 1 was full of super strong teams. Strength as a actual stat. But because of that, I want to kind of push myself further, so I have a little bit more of a stronger base than everyone else. It's not so much that I'm trying to be a super bashy team, but reducing the amount of dice you're able to access, and especially on a skeleton, is pretty good. I mean, I've had my skeletons kill people multiple times or cause really serious injuries. But yeah, I have 5 rerolls, which is the most out of the whole league, and then the 280k. I don't really know what I'm going to really use the money for. I think I'm going to use inducements for certain matchups. When we get to the certain teams, we'll kind of get a feel for who exactly those people are. So this match in general is going to be it's going to be super momentum based, more so than I think a lot of the other matches. Just because of the way our two teams are, with the frenzy pilot on and all these really super aggro abilities on Norse, who most of them now have block and other related abilities. It's going to be pretty interesting. Like, whoever starts getting the first knockouts in this game will probably have the bigger advantage. And for Blood Bowl, that's kind of that's a really obvious comment, but because of the way these two teams play, if he knocks out my guards, it's a big impact. If I knocked out his frenzy guys, and I mean actually knock out, like they are gone and unconscious. If I can do that, I think it puts me in a much better place. Not having the Yeti again is a big deal. Having my mummies still there with the guard that they give is very, very influential. So going into Sebudai, he played Nug, and he survived. I mean, Nug isn't really a super aggro team because he's elves, but he's very developed in the team, and we'll talk about his team next, obviously. But so yeah, this is three rolls, 120k gold. Very standard for where we are in the league. A lot of level 1s, but I think his team is pretty well developed. He's also playing sort of a guardish base team, but he has really good players all around. His thrower is pretty interesting because I personally I like accurate, but strong arm is also really good just because adding the one, is still a better chance. I've never really played with strong arm, so I'm actually the next person that levels is sort of going to start placing him as my ball handler, because I don't have sure hands on my characters, so I might get it on a ghoul or a white, or I'm not sure. But anyway, back to his team. His thrower is pretty well set up, and his catchers are also pretty well set up. So block, and then this one has block as well. Guard on Ogre, dodge, Mighty Blow. Blitzers are pretty good. Both having guard and Mighty Blows gotta make it kind of interesting. Because they just support each other and run into the cages, and then they could just wreck your cage open, and even worse, cause real pain. I'm really interested to see how this game goes on, because Nug he's playing elves, so he's not like he's still base value 3s, but his lineup is so well made. Like he has one guy to kick. That's all you really need. It's basic dude, whatever. And then he has 8 movement catcher with wrestle, which is where you want them to be. Like the reason why wrestle is so good on like teams like Skaven is because you don't care about getting knocked down. You just get back up, and then you still move halfway across the field to whoever the next guy you need to go after is. And then wrestle again, alignment, strong arm and accurate. Really developed thrower. And then his blitzers have dodge guard and dodge diving tackle. And then his catchers are just insane. Level 4 catchers. Dodge block sidestep. Dodge block strip ball. He has such a great blitz setup. I'm sorry, not blitzing. Like the way his team works is he's so good at keeping the ball in position and then also breaking the cages. There was a reason why he's 7-1-0. Like the team is so well set up, and yes, he only has 3 rerolls, but he has 360k gold. Like he can get rerolls if he wants. But the thing I'm worried about is like if he gets to the finals, he's gonna dump all his gold into inducements, and then he's gonna just wreck. Like imagine all these with a pro player, or all these with extra rerolls and then more booze. Like he's, I think everyone agrees with me that he is probably one of the favorites just because his team is pretty well stacked. So we'll see how this goes. They tied last time, so it's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out. Obviously, I want Sebidai to win because I don't want to play Nug personally, and Sebidai hopefully can destroy Nug if his players if Nug wins, just so it's a little easier on everyone else. I don't really know if that's going to actually happen, but you gotta kind of wish for that. So going to the next matchup, we have Sadfish versus Figure 4, and that's another rematch from last game of the regular season. Sadfish plays Lizardman, and 3 rerolls with 80k gold. He actually lost a skink, which is why he has 0 SP, and he has less gold. I played him. I think he was my second to last match of the regular season, and he plays the team pretty well. He has really good stuff across the board. Like he has block, but on the sources. But that's pretty much all you need on them because they're 4 strength, 6 movement. That's really solid. You don't really expect them to go around and tossing the ball. That's why you have the skinks, which are just they're really just tricky Skaven. Like 8 movements. They're not gonna try and tackle you, although he has tried a couple times. And that ended up poorly, as I think. I don't see the guy. I think I injured one of them before, but anyway. But yeah, he has a really good setup, I think. Let's see. The thing I like about his team as well is that he has diving tackle on his skinks, which makes them important when he's just doing defense. Because normally, like, if you're not gonna really go in with your skinks, but you can use them for positioning because of diving tackle. So as long as the sources are kind of pushing the other team away, you can use the skinks to try and force the ball into positions you don't want. There's something really else to kind of talk about. Like, his level 3s are pretty solid as well. Unfortunately, he has a fractured skull, but you know, that kind of happens. But break, tackle, dodge is pretty good. And this one has one agility sidestep, which is, you know, and then for the character that it is, it's what you kind of want. I think the problem here is that he's gonna have problems with as much dodge as he has, because most of the teams now have 2 people with tackle. So it's gonna be interesting to see how his gameplay changes. And figure 4 is orcs. 3 rerolls and almost 300k gold. He still needs to level up these guys, which I think is going to be sort of important what they pick up. Luckily though, 1 black orc is down, so that's something at least. Blitzers are both dodge guards. Black orcs are kind of like, you know, +1 strength. So I mean, I was thinking about this, and I'm not sure. Like, strength is always good. I'm not sure if I really would have done it as a first skill, just because I'm worried. Like, black orcs are ridiculous in themselves, but I feel as though they need some way of securing themselves. But whatever. I mean, that's a preference thing. Like, strength is always good. Is like ridiculously good in Blood Bowl. So no matter what, you're generally going to go for +1 strength. Unless it's like on a skink, but you know, whatever. This troll has guard, and then this dodge guard, and then mighty blow block. This guy is kind of scary because he's gonna probably just mow into everybody. Thor has block and there's a steal, and his goblin has sidestep, which he also needs to level. Why is it? He's missing here. But yeah, this game's gonna be interesting because, I mean, they just played each other, so they know how each other plays to a pretty good extent. Having 1 black orc out is okay. So figure 4 says that he would have picked block first, but he can't pick up rolling 1 strength. Which, like, yeah, again, I agree, but I mean, that's just for me. Like, for me, that's a flavor thing, because I think black orcs are pretty important to this team, just because you need to have that front line, and they're a really strong front line. So having block, like, is a way that you don't get bullied. Like, I think, like, for me, having these guys on the front line is powerful, but like, if you just put 1 big guy and some other guys in it, you kind of negate that. Because most of the big guys don't have block, but I don't know. Then you're like going for a 4 strength versus a 5 strength, and you're kind of losing a die, and it goes back and forth. Like, I don't think it's, like I said, I don't think it's a poor decision or anything like that. I just think it's more of a personal taste. And that, yeah, like, I have a really hard time going for stats as a first gain on a character, just because I think skills are really important. But it's very much based on the team. Like, on my Skaven team, I chose as my first skill on a gutter runner, I picked the movement, because being able to turn one, I'm pretty sure that's enough for turn 1. But being close to like a turn 1, a 1-turn touchdown is pretty powerful. So yeah, like I said, it's more of a personal choice. So overall, I think this matchup is going to be really interesting. Like, again, because they just played each other, so they kind of remember how this matchup is going to play. They're both really, they're both set up for good playoffs. I just again worry about Sadfish just because a lot of dodge against a lot of people who already have tackle. So it's going to be interesting to see how he defends his skinks. I mean, well, they have stunties, so it's not really that bad, but we'll see. And then the last two is Gambit with his Chaos team. Like it's really your normal Chaos team. Like, you know, they all have block because once Chaos starts ramping up with block and their second skill afterwards, then you start getting scared. You know, when the mutations start coming out, you're like, crap. He has a large bank, 320, which is going to really help him out. I assume if he goes up against Knug, you're going to see a lot of that being spent. But yeah, his team is just like your normal Chaos, you know. I'm going to come after you and I'm going to destroy you. Block, mighty blow, pass extra arms. As with all Chaos teams, the major problem is like who's going to... even though he has like pass and extra arms, who's he really going to throw the ball to? So you're going to see a lot of caging with this team, and then trying to see how he moves the ball. And then his brother Vax. So I've never played as or against Underworld, so I really don't know what to think of this team. Which is going to be really sucky for me because I've played against every other team, every single race aside from this. That's in the playoffs, anyways. But it's a weird mixture, like, you know, Skaven and Goblins, and then like they're stunty, and then they have their own little things. So let's see, like. I mean, he has a troll 5 with claw, so it's worth noting. And then there's this guard, kick, block, leader. Goblin's out with 2 heads. Then he has another goblin with 2 heads. And then mighty blow and claw. I don't really know how the team has been playing. I probably should go take a look at a replay or something just so I can understand how this team works. He doesn't have much gold, and again 3 rerolls. But he has the lowest TV out of everybody by at least, I think, 170. So he's going to get a pretty much decent amount of change from inducements. But I don't see it playing as much of a role as much for the other teams. But Vaccine's a pretty strong player, so I'm pretty sure he's going to be causing a lot of pain or misery. I don't really know how this matchup's going to go, just because Underworld is just so foreign to me that it's hard for me to make that kind of call. So going through who I think is going to place or get into the next round, I don't feel as though there's any definites. Like, this is a really solid 8 out of our divisions. Like I said, I think this matchup is going to be based off who starts eliminating which players on the other side. If I can get his frenzy characters out, or his pilot on out, for at least a half, and then try and punish his team, I think I'm putting myself in a good position. If he gets my ghouls, or just my guard characters in general, he's going to be really set for the rest of the round, or the rest of that match. Seb and Nug, I just don't know. Like, Nug has such a strong team, I want to obviously say him, but I think Sebitai, like, if you're the only team that can make him tie, I think you are doing something right with this matchup. And why aren't you rolling? Come on, servers. Servers. And then Sadfish and Figure 4. I'm not sure who to pick from there. 2 good players, 2 good teams. Could go either way. Really? You're gonna just derp on me like this? Sigh. That's pretty much all to really show, anyways. Uh, I did want to check to see if we are able to use if we're using all of our inducements, just because the differences of cash amounts between the teams is going to be pretty impactful. Oh, there we go. Yeah. It's going to be pretty impactful. So let's see. So yeah, pretty much everything. Oh, I don't need more rerolls, even though I want to. Where is it? So that's pretty much it. So yeah, 280, 360, I think. Yeah, 360. Yeah, so it's gonna be interesting to see how this rolls out. I'm gonna be streaming my first match when I make it. I think I'm gonna do it Saturday morning. I haven't really talked to the last tape yet, but that's usually when I play my games, or usually like Saturday or Sunday mornings. Worst case, I will have them archived, and you can just watch them at your leisure. As so will this, but you're watching it anyway, so you're probably doing that. So yeah, that's about it. If you have any questions. I don't really have an email set up for my Twitch channel yet. You can send me a message if you want. But yeah, this is my league so far in the playoffs, and it's gonna be kind of interesting to see how this rolls out. I'm gonna try and at least do updates for the standings every time the week is over, and then we can talk about just from what we see and how the teams are developing. So you have a little more content that's outside of my own personal teams and progression. We also have, I think we call it mid-offs, which is like the middle 3 or 4 teams, and then we have fail-offs, which is the bottom 6. But I'm not going to really cover those for no real particular reason. I just wanted to get the playoffs. Not just because I'm in them, but more so because the playoffs is pretty much the reason you play Bud Bowl. So yeah, that will be it, and I will catch you guys later. Alright, bye.